Welcome to the 2014 Winter Paralympics from beautiful Sochi, Russia. Our feature match today, Canada, defending Olympic gold medal champions at 2-0 against Sweden, 1-1. And this is a grudge match of the World Wheelchair Final Championship played here in this arena in 2013, January last year. The Pipers of Scotland heighten the prestige of the event as they prepare the players and the fans for this round-robin session. Great match it will be too. Canada and Sweden, as I just mentioned, were in the world final, wheelchair final last year, right here in Sochi, and was 5-4 win for Canada at that time. So this is the grudge match from last year. Temperatures inside of the ice cube here, beautiful today. You see the pebble. Nice look at the pebble which covers the frosty top of the ice. As we prepare for play in round robin today. The Ice Cube, one of a cluster of new venues inside of Olympic Park, just a few hundred yards from the Black Sea. Look at the standings. Canada, Slovakia. Slovakia surprising at 2-0. Russia, the host federation, at 2-1. Great Britain 1-1. Korea 1-1. With Sweden down to bottom. Finland 0-2. The U.S. getting their first win, 1-2. So early in the competition yet, but a win is a win, and it certainly builds into the standings as one goes along. The crowd, this arena at the Ice Cube, holds 3,000 fans and has been packed for the Olympics and now for the Paralympics as well.
Thank you, City Pipes.
As the fans prepare for the introduction of the players, we look at Team Canada. Sonia Goody, the lead, and Vernon. Dennis Thiessen of Winnipeg is the second. For Canada at third, Ina Forrest from Fort St. John. And the skip, the well-known Jim Armstrong, skip of this team which won the gold medal at the World Championship last year and also at the Olympics 2010 in Vancouver. Very strong team all the way through. But they'll have great opposition today from another strong team, and that'll be from Sweden. Here in Sochi, Russia, 2014 at the Paralympic Games. We look for the lead. Christina Kiki Ulander, the lead for Sweden. She's from Kramfors. Patrick Kalin, 35 years old, the second. Glenn Ikonen, the third from Hasselby, Sweden. And at skip, a business owner, Jack Jugelin, a 60-year-old from Stockholm. Fraternizing with the opposition, that's okay. Before the game, everything works okay. Very strong Swedish team here too, which lost the final of the World Championship here to Canada last year in this very building. Sweden were in WCF ranked number 2 in the world with 568 points, only behind Canada. Teams prepare. Hit onto the ice. There's Jim Armstrong. Teams will have a little chance here to have a little pre-game meeting before they set to play. In Canada, the number 1 ranked team in the world. With Sonia Goody, the lead from Vernon, British Columbia. The only person in Olympic, Paralympic wheelchair curling to win 2 gold medals in 06 and 010, and followed Jim Armstrong. A Briar curler, he played in the championships of Canada 6 times. He played in the Briar in Canada when he was able-bodied. He was a great player. In 1987, his team, he curled third for Bernie Sparks, and they lost the Canadian Briar with a chance to go to the Worlds, lost to Russ Howard from Canada. So Jim, definitely the most experienced player of any of the skips in the competition. Okay, here we are. Canada lost the draw to the button. In the practice, closest to the button gets the advantage of last stone on this opening end. Sweden was closer, so Canada will play the opening stone of this first end. Nice guard right in front, absolutely perfectly splitting the center line just in front of the rings. Exactly what was asked for from Sonia Goody. Well, let's meet the lead for Team Sweden. Christina Ulander, nicknamed Kiki. in the intern draw, 59% so far in the tournament from Kramfors in Sweden in her first Paralympics. But she has also played in 4 World Championships on the wheelchair side, part of the team, and won the silver medal here last year. She began curling in 2006. A nice draw, almost to the tee line, right into the 4-foot area. Not quite under cover. And this ice does curl a lot, so it certainly is possible to draw in behind guard stones. Jim Armstrong placing the broom and expecting about a little bit more than a foot of curl. He places the brush target for the thrower, and thrower throws at that brush, and Jim's probably wondering about soft takeout weight on this, expecting it to curl over on the in-turn, a clockwise rotation, about 18 inches or so. Sonia with the throw, waiting for it to move. And there it comes. Did lots of weight, so it won't curl as much as Jim probably expected, but it does remove the Yellowstone Sweden's. Will it hang on for a biter? Oh, very close. Hard to tell if it's biting or not. And Jim felt that the stones weren't working too well. Jim Armstrong so far in this competition, very aggressive, these stones, lots of curl, more than they had when they played in the World Championships here last year. So it's throwing all of these teams off that had played here before. The ice curling a little bit more than what they had been used to from a year ago. They expected something, and they got something different when they got here. Kiki Wylander, 32 years old. Her second stone. She played a very nice one on her first shot. Just a little bit light of the rings, but a center guard nonetheless, so it'll work well.
Okay, Dennis. 12 and a half.
Jim now asking for a draw on the opposite side of the sheet, on the outturn towards center. And that will be from the left-hander, Dennis Thiessen. He likes woodworking, that's his hobby. He started wheelchair curling 2005 in the Assiniboia Curling Club in Winnipeg. Plenty of curl. Look at the finish, the amount of that stone curls from the hog line in. Really took off and curled big time. And that's the problem on this ice. Without sweeping, and there is no sweeping in wheelchair curling, you really have to be out to the broom, inside the target at all, and the stone really takes off early in the curl.
Yes, normal.
Skip Yali asking for the outturn hit. And let's meet Patrick Cowan, the 35-year-old second for Team Sweden. In his second Paralympics curling.
Bra.
Won bronze in 2010 in Vancouver. Has played in 3 World Championships before. Second, as they were here last year, getting silver 2013. Exactly what was called for. Hit that stone on the nose and control the front area of the rings. So this is a game of strategy so far between these two teams, wanting to control that area right in front of the rings where they could make a tap up and get a stone in behind cover. Nothing in the ring so far, so nobody counting any points thus far. And no points are tabulated and counted until the end is complete. And after all 16 stones have been played, in the end, it's the number of stones that a team has counting better than the opposition's best stone, which go into the scoreboard. 1 point for each stone, which is better. Anywhere in the rings is good, even biting the ring. We have the 12-foot, the 8-foot, and the 4-foot rings in diameter. And then the button right at the center. That red stone to the right-hand side might be touching the ring, so it might be a counter. And we can't measure it at this point in time to see if it is. You can only eyeball it.
Yes.
It could be measured at the end, at the conclusion at the end, if it is a factor. And then you can see a little bit of white there, and so it might be out. Might not be in the rings. Patrick with his last stone now of this first end.
Bra.
It's 4 players aside, and each player plays two stones per end, alternating with the opposition until all 16 stones have been played. And then we see who's closest to the center point with a number of stones and tabulate the score for this end. Now let's meet the third for Canada. Ina Forrest, a 51-year-old from Fort St. John, which is northern BC, northern British Columbia, in her second Paralympics. A gold medal winner in Vancouver 2010. She's competed in 6 world championships, winning 3 golds. Quite the record. Does she have enough speed? And I call it weight. It's known as weight. These stones weigh 42 pounds, but that's not the important thing. The weight is the speed, the force which is thrown to the stone. She was a little bit light on the weight there. But still a guard, certainly a possible tap-up for Canada on their next stone. And certainly the skip for Sweden realizes that possibility. Both of these men very good strategists.
Jag trycker på den röda då. Okej. Hack. Hackfart. 11. 11.
He's calling, Jungnell calling for a tricky shot here, thinking that he can strike the Canadian stone and perhaps raise in both of his stones. Let's meet the third for Sweden, Glenn Ikonen, a 58-year-old from Hasselby, Sweden, in his third Paralympics. He won bronze in 06 in Torino and bronze in 2010 in Vancouver. See how the contact is. Touches the one. It's one yellow into the rings, and will the other one spin in as well? Yes, it does. A lovely shot. A split double roll in. Oh, full marks for that shot. That's a beauty. Sweden does have the advantage of last stone in this end. The last chance to make an impression on this end.
12.
Canada in a bit of trouble here without the advantage of last stone, known as the hammer. They're going to simply ignore those stones belonging to Sweden and attempt to draw a stone of their own in. Ina, a business owner in Fort St. John, began curling 2004 in Vernon, British Columbia. And with the aggressiveness of these stones, any lack of weight in the stone curls early and easily touches the guard. Will this one stop in time? Beautifully curled around the guard and buries right into the back of the 8-foot circle wall. That is sunk in behind cover. Wow, beautiful shot, says Jim. I like that. Takes the pressure off of him for the moment. Thank you, he says. What a wonderful shot, and that is very deep in behind.
Yeah.
Sweden might be able to draw to that stone at the back 8-foot, but any extra weight, and it would probably just go right by and wouldn't catch the curl. Of course, the more speed, the less curl.
Yep.
Players can throw by hand or with a stick. All competitors in this competition, though, are using the stick. They find it they can add more power and have more accuracy using the stick. There's a lot of speed and not much curl. That one is full takeout weight, just runs right through the curl. This is by a couple of feet. Not what was required, and he knew it was a missed throw right away. Glenn Ikonen did. Well, advantage Jim Armstrong on the Canadian side. It looked like they were in trouble. Now they have one well buried in behind. Beautiful shot by Ina Forrest. And Jim Armstrong, the 63-year-old from Vancouver, former dentist, began curling at the age of 8. As mentioned, he played in 6 Briars. And it's the biggest attendance event in the world is the Briar in Canada. Sometimes there's as many as 8 to 10 to 12,000 people in the big arenas to watch the Briar finals, which lead to Canada sending a team to the World Championships. Jim only 52%, well below his normal average. The ice has been tricky for him so far. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. See if he has the speed to get by. Boy, the line was terrific. And just another 5 feet of weight, and there would not have been that extra curl. He would have gotten by and also buried right in behind. But still a good guard. Really shrinks down the rings for Sweden. He might have to go out quite wide now to be able to get in behind. Well, the rush is being placed for what appears to be a raise. Jali Ljungnell, 60-year-old from Stockholm, Sweden, in his third Paralympics. Room being held by Glenn Eikanen. The two of them were teammates, winning bronze in '06 in Torino and also bronze in 2010 in Vancouver. Hjalte has played in 7 World Championships, getting silver in '09 and of course silver in 2013, right in this very arena. Nicknamed Jale.
Lite inåt. Bra. Bra.
Has to be precise here to make a good roll. A good raise in of the shots up top. Double raise. Threw plenty of weight. Only contacts the one Canadian stone. Changes the color out front. It does not accomplish much, and Canada's still counting one. Now there are 3 stones fully in the ring. Right now Canada is lying the one closest to the center, so they are lying 1. Sweden has second and third shots. If this was the end of the end now, completed, Canada would count 1. Sweden would count none. Only one team can count from it, and that's the team with the number of stones closer to the center than the opponent's best.
We're just guessing out there.
Jim will attempt to go for another possible point. He has a chance now to steal 1 without the hammer. Advantage the last stone, and we'd like to get a second one in play. We'll see how the teammate comes in behind the chair and helps to brace the thrower. Jim with the in-turn. Looks like more weight than his first one. Looks like he's playing the hit and roll off this side stone. Got the hit and removed it, didn't make the roll in. You could see what he was thinking there. He definitely didn't want to leave a possible raise for Sweden for 3, so he got rid of at least the 1 stone. So that if Sweden does make a tricky shot, it's only for 2. Good strategy. Jim, very smart strategist. Sweden talking about the in-turn draw. The way it swoops in at the end, there's a lot of finish. Taking about 3 feet of ice. By ice, I mean the width of the broom from the target to where they'd like to curl to. A lot of terms in this game come from the old days of Scottish curling in the 1600s, where this game originated. Curling, items such things called the house, the hog line, the ice, the broom. Still looking at a possible raise. Well, these two teams know each other well. They've played a number of times, and they have a lot of respect for each other. Skip Ljungnell was reported as saying, I view Canada as the team to beat in this competition. He says it's nice to have my team healthy for really the first time in 2 years that everybody is really ready to play. But Canada, yeah, they are definitely the team to beat. The last stone of end 1 by Sweden. It'll be a raise attempt to count 2. A very difficult shot. And no sweeping is allowed. There's no sweeping that can tweak the line, so it has to be precise right out of the hand. Contact with the front one, but not quite enough to raise it in. So there, the closest one of the center is the one red one belonging to Canada, so they will hit the board first with a steal of 1 point in this opening end. Good in by Jim Armstrong, and a nice shot by his third, Einar, to bury that stone in behind him. It survived the rest of the end and counted.
10-0. Jaha, det var därför. Ja, annars skulle du fatta jättebra.
Short intermission between ends for the teams to have a chance to chat with their crew. Canada with a steal in that first end leads it by a score of 1-0 after the opening end of play. 8 full ends we played in this game and have tied an extra end. Sweden having a chance to talk about their strategy for the next end as well. And 10 countries qualified for Paralympic curling. In this initial round robin, competition determines the top 4 countries advancing to the playoffs. One thing different about wheelchair curling too is the officials come out on the ice and help to remove the stones from play after the conclusion of the end, although the players do some of that as well. It just speeds up play. Each team started with 68 minutes on their time clock to play their portion of the game. Plenty of time as long as the teams play at a steady pace. Sonia, 47-year-old from Vernon. And what a resume she has. 2 Olympic Paralympic golds in 06 and 10 and 3 World Championship golds in 09, 11, and 13, the last one being right here in this arena. Her nickname is the Brain for the fact it's the balance post which she invented, which she uses during her delivery. Nikki Wander, 32, in turn play. Playing a hit on that stone in the rings, and it hits and stays. A very nice throw. Good accuracy. Jim Armstrong stated, he said, we won our first 2 games. We had a record of 2-0 in spite of ourselves. He says, well, we're struggling. He says, I'm struggling. I think he says, I think it's the rocks. They're definitely different than the rocks we used last year here at the World Championships in Sochi. These are the same rocks the Olympic teams used a couple of weeks ago, and they curl like crazy. Teams aren't used to them. And of course, without the advantage of sweep, just a little bit less weight, and it's easier for the stone to overcurl and run into a guard. Jim said the difference is day and night from last year when we played here, but of course he said it's the same for everybody. It's just a matter of adjusting. Sonia just a little bit light on that throw, and this ice is very weight sensitive, a little bit underweight, and the stone will curl more than expected. So for the moment, Sweden line 1 and a chance to split the rings and draw to the opposite side. So let's see if Nikki can come up with the weight. The right speed to hit the rings on the other side. She's an administrator. Curls out of clubs, Solidfly. In Sweden, just a little bit too much weight on that one. Slides right through the ring, so a missed opportunity for Sweden. And now we'll see Dennis Thiessen, the second for Team Canada. The only left-hander on the sheet. The 52-year-old curls out of the Assiniboia Club in Winnipeg, nicknamed Denny. And as mentioned, he loves the woodworking stuff. His motto, live, dream, and experience. A good hit there. Hit and stay.
What was the time on that?
So far in the competition, there are two games played. Canada 2-0, and they've scored 11 points, given up 17, so they're a +4. Sweden has scored 11, given up 12, so they're a -1. So both teams playing well. Canada having a little bit better of it.
Bra Kalin. Bra.
8-9.
Nice hit as well. This is a very open end. Only the one stone in play. Sweden missed the chance to split the rings and draw the opposite side. As we look at the stone there, we see the striking band, that white part on the side. It's not as polished as the rest of the stone. And striking band is uniform on all these stones, so they hit precisely.
That's good toss.
Thiessen with big weight. He's letter perfect. Right on the nose. Fans love that shot as well. Very proficient playing in the second end of play. You see the time clocks in behind Jim. The team started with 58 minutes each. If the team runs out of time, they forfeit the match. They like to play at a good speed. And we've seen many matches forfeited in regular curling over the years where teams took way too much time early in the game, had nothing left for the last couple ends.
Du ligger lite inne. Lite ute.
Patrick Callan
Lite inne. Bra.
is in information technology. Plays at the Soderjay Curling Club in Sweden.
Ja, ja.
Good hitter, 60%. See how he does on this shot. Very soft weight. Don't know if that's enough to take it right out of the
Bra
rings.
Kalin.
Will it stay or not? Nope, it's just slipping out the back. Good shot. Just enough weight. A tender take-up, we would call it. Jim Armstrong asking for the intern to see the Canadian insignia on the bottom of his brush. Ina Forrest, a business owner in Fort St. John. And in her 6 worlds which she's played in, she's won 3 gold. Hit and stay. And she's also a lefty. 2 lefties on this Canadian team, Dennis Thiessen and Ina Forrest. And wheelchair curling in the Paralympics is the only team sport with both genders. There's men's and women, men and women on each team. Teams are allowed 5 players, the regular 4 and an alternate player as a 5th. So most of them in their squad will have 3 of one gender and 2 of the other. There must be both genders on the ice at all times. Outturn attempt on the draw here. Glenn Ikonen. Look at the aggressive curl at the end. Not much handle on that stone at the end. These are very, very aggressive stones.
I think he's going to take it
They're
out.
hard. Jim says we don't want that yellow one right there.
Get rid of it.
Let's get rid of it. Could be trouble.
All yours, girl.
Ina had her debut in 2001 at the World Championships in Sochi, Switzerland. Her hobbies, she loves horses and table tennis. Nice hit, enough to spill it and spin it out of the rings and rolls in with her shooter. Nicely done. High numbers being played by both teams so far. Not too many complete misses.
Okej. Vi tar en till. Okej.
Good hit, but it looks like it will be the draw here for Glenn Ikonen, the third. 58-year-old from Hasselby in Sweden.
Bra.
And he has played para table tennis and wheelchair basketball. Needs just a little bit more speed than his first one, and this one is holding the handle better. See if it gets by. Nicely done now. Will it bury right in behind? That is a good shot. Quite a bit hidden there. I don't think that Armstrong will be able to see any more than half of that stone. And Jim quickly places the brush just outside of the pinhole on the Paralympic button. Across the rings there outside of the button where you have the 4-foot ring of the blue, the white is the 8-foot, and the red is the 12-foot in diameter. And that T line straight across the middle of the rings is the sweeping line for the regular able-bodied curlers, where they can sweep the opponent's stone once it touches that T line and try to sweep it out of the rings. Of course, that's one of the main differences between able-bodied curling and wheelchair. No sweeping here. Without that sweeping, there's no one there to tweak the line, hold the stone a little bit straighter if it's curling, or take that stone 5 to 10 feet further with powerful sweeping. So, of course, the throwing here is more precise right at the point of release. Jim Armstrong, 63-year-old former dentist out of Vancouver. Didn't have a lot of handle on that. This aggressiveness of the curl of the ice, quite often stones will lose their handle if there isn't a lot of spin, and not at least 2.5 to 3 turns on the stone. Now, throwing with a stick, it's difficult to get that extra amount of spin. A little easier to do with a curling delivery where you can really spin it with the hand at the end. Well, I like what Sweden's done on this end. It's turned out good. Very aggressive call to go in behind, and now they'll attempt it again. It looks like Sweden has come up with a plan here to go right after Canada at every opportunity and try and force the action. Our thrower here, nicknamed Jallet, partner Madeline. We have 2 children, Peggy and Frida. He's a business owner and engineer from Stockholm University. And his curling clubs are Sochi Curling Club in Stockholm. Also playing the same shot that his third Glenn Eichen would like to just duplicate, Xerox that shot, and draw in behind as well. These stones really starting to lose their handle a bit. That one, although it's still keeping the handle, just skims by. Oh, what a beautiful shot. Now 2 stones hidden in behind that guard, and Sweden does have the advantage of the last stone. Jim just slaps down the broom and says, right here, that's where I'd like the ice. I have to follow that one down. Ina Forrest holding the broom for Jim. Nothing easy here. This has to be perfect weight. Heck of a shot there by the skipper from Sweden. 2 good stones in a row. Really puts the pressure onto Canada.
Hey, Jim. That's going to be a better path than that first one.
As we see in able-bodied curling, the goal often is to really increase the degree of difficulty for the opponent, and Sweden has done that here for Jim Armstrong. Nothing easy about this shot. Needs the exact ice, has to hit the broom, needs the right amount of curl to be able to freeze right into those 2 stones, which are behind cover. His team leads it by a score of 1-0, but they're in trouble here. And that stone also losing its handle. The handle's gone flat. And that stone comes to a halt. These stones are quite sharp on their bottom surface, which touches the ice. There's just a little circular rim on the bottom of the stone, which is in contact with the ice. And the sharper that is, the more the stones tend to curl. But on the other hand, curling is great. The worst thing you can have in curling is just perfectly straightness, and you can't bury behind any stones at all. So curlers do like to have the good curl. And we're getting here around 4 feet. A chance here now for Sweden to take a big end. You're already lying 2 and have a good opportunity to duplicate the last shot and take 3. Put a big end on the scoreboard. Young Nell asking for just a little bit more ice with the outturn. And this is a big grudge match for them. They did lose, as mentioned, the World Championship final in wheelchairs here last year to Canada. And that one just appeared to slip a little bit out of the stick. It didn't go anywhere. That turn is very flat, though. There was 4 or 5 stones there that just didn't keep their handle. This is only the second in. We might already be seeing the pebble a bit, wear out a bit around the center of the point of the sheet, and we'll talk about pebble a little bit more in the coming end. So let's see what Canada has to say.
So the moral is definitely keep it simple.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Good. Let's go. Let's do it.
Well, Canada talked about keeping it simple. Sweden did nab a 2-ender in that second in to take a lead of 2-1 after 2 ends of play. Well, Canada in their 2 games so far, they won 6-3 against Great Britain and 5-4 over Russia. And Canada on the WCF ranking, World Curling Federation ranking, is ranked number 1 in the world at 758 points. Sweden is in second place with 568 points in the WCF ranking. Sweden won their first game 7-6 over Finland, lost their second 6-4 to Great Britain. So Canada 2-0, Sweden 1-1. And this match definitely important to both of them in the round robin standings in their chase to make the playoffs. And when you go to a competition like this, most teams look to that team that they're really looking forward to play. And I would say for Sweden, it definitely was Canada here. Having lost to them last year in the World Final, I'm sure Sweden came here with a definite intent to go after Canada, and they're doing that today. They've waited a whole year for revenge over Jim Armstrong. And Canada, the top curling nation in the world, usually got a target on its back. Canada has 1 million curlers in the country, 800 curling clubs across the country. Winnipeg really the hub of curling with about 25 curling clubs right in the Winnipeg area. Really another hotbed of curling in Canada is Edmonton, where a lot of big championships have been won out of there. And so I would say all areas of Canada now are really doing big time. And in Canada, curling is now the second most important sport in behind hockey. Canada here seeking their 3rd consecutive Paralympic gold in wheelchair curling to go along with the 3 world championships that Canada's won in 2009 and 11 and 13. And Sweden not far behind, though. They're second ranked in the world on the WCF. And this match is scheduled for 8 ends of play. We've seen 2 ends now, and another handle going flat on the stone. And that one is continuing to move across on the return. And a lot of fans looking in might say, well, why do you bother putting the in turn or the out turn on the stone? Why don't you just throw it straight? Well, as we've seen, a stone thrown with no handle, and some of them have lost their handle here, you don't really know which way they're going to go, and quite often they will take the in turn a little bit or the out turn a little bit on their own. So it's really important to predetermine the direction of curl by getting the right amount of spin on and the appropriate handle. Teams are having a bit of a problem with that today, probably just because of the soft ice conditions. Ice might be just a little bit soft today. It is very warm in Sochi, so lots of credit to the great ice makers for keeping this ice in top shape overall. And the head ice technician here is Scott Henderson from Edinburgh, Scotland. And his goal is to provide really great ice for these world-class players, and he tends to call it 4x4, 4 feet of curl towards the center, and 4 feet of curl also from the center to the sides. With that amount of curl, you can bury right in behind stones, even in the top ring of the house area. And it's all shots possible. But for the players, they just have to be sure to keep at least 3 spins on the stone, or otherwise they're losing their handle. Nice weight. Sweden, once again, playing a very proficient end. As Patrick plays that stone, just biting the top 8 foot. Almost curled right in behind the center guard. Tim Armstrong motions for the hit and roll in behind. Jim, a very cool customer. When he was an able-bodied player, he really had a fine touch to his delivery. And for a big man who played football when he was a kid, he never threw with a lot of weight. He was more of a field player, really good on the soft draw shots and the tap-outs. The hit here by Thiessen. Will he stay? He rolls a little bit too far. Hangs on for Viter. Who knows? That might be a factor. Wanted to roll right in behind the center guard, but rolled a little too far.
Vad sa du?
Likadan!
Ja.
Du får lite mindre is, vi gör lite bättre.
Yes.
Well, as mentioned, wheelchair and regular able-bodied curling have numerous similarities, but a few key unique differences, the most notable being the absence of sweepers in wheelchair curling. Although the sweepers can yell at the stone, and they really do, and who knows, perhaps the stone will listen now and then if they yell loud enough. And for those of you new to Paralympic wheelchair curling, or curling in general, you're sure to fall in love with this sport, with its strategy and its shot-making skills. Much more difficult than it first appears, and I've seen many players of other sports come out and try curling for the first time and go, wow, we didn't realize how sore our muscles were going to be the next day, and how much strategy was involved in the fine touch. Dennis Thiessen, one of the 2 left-handers in Team Canada. He and Ina. He can throw the big weight with accuracy. He does that again, driving out. That stone belonging to Sweden. And Jim said we wanted to keep it simple. They are. Of course, they could go aggressive any time during the end and start drawing behind. First things first, they're trying to keep it fairly open. And Sweden, on the other hand, would like to take advantage of that center guard, draw perfectly in behind, and go for the steal. If they can get in behind protection, they have that opportunity. 42-pound stone underway in the hand of Glenn Ikonen. Been in 7 World Championships, getting the silver in 09 and then here in 2013. Education from the Bastron Island Vocational College. His debut in curling was in 2001 at the Worlds in Sochi, Switzerland. His hobbies, he loves the horses and table tennis. Speaks 3 languages, English, Finnish, and Swedish, of course. Sweden line 2, although they're perhaps not the best 2 counters. If Canada can freeze right down to them, Ina Forrest will take her out turn. That'll be a clockwise rotation. If she could freeze right down to those stones and draw right down on top of them, she could be using Sweden's stones against them, using them for backing. See what success she has. Good handle on that stone and plenty of weight too. Will it curl over though? That's the big question. Well, nicely done. Only had to curl another inch to be absolutely perfect. But nonetheless, a good shot. We'll take that. As mentioned, there's no sweeping to warm the path. as we saw in the Olympics, to diminish the amount of curl or to take a draw shot 5 to 10 feet further. So, of course, the Paralympic wheelchair curler needs to be more precise right from the point of throw. Another difference from able-bodied curling is the stone is not delivered from the hat, as it is in regular curling. But as we've seen, the player delivers between the house and the hog line and can be braced by the player in behind just to steady the chair, keep it from slipping. And all players in this competition are using the stick for more power and greater accuracy.
Ja, lite hårdare alltså. Ja, 11,5, 11,3.
It's the second time we've seen Glenn a little bit too fast on that out turn, and Canada was waiting for a break, and they got it right there.
Okay, but ideally there.
That's a 12, 12 and a half.
Canada with another opportunity here, and Ina's made some good shots so far. She's curling at a pace of 70%, the highest of any player on the ice right now. She'd like to duplicate her first shot and draw in another stone for her second shot. She throws and closely watches that one. Not as much handle this time. And falls far short of the house. That's twice she's been short with that second rock of hers, and perhaps it is not quite as speedy as the first one. Certainly possible the stones aren't always uniform. Although these teams did have a 1-hour practice session before the event even started, and they do practice before, and they're always checking stones, always keeping track of how stones are reacting compared to each other. They do keep a book on the stones.
Vi kan gå ner lite till is.
If they play on a sheet again and have those same stones, they would like to know if there was any problems. And also, should they make the playoffs, then they are allowed to select stones from any sheet, whereas playing on sheet A here, they must use the stones on sheet A. In this particular
Lite
match.
up, bra.
Bra.
The skip for Sweden, Young now. Playing the end turn. Trying to get by the guard and hide right in behind. Wow, just sneaks by. Will it stop in time? No, just keep sliding. Boy, the path was perfect. Weight just a little bit heavy. Canada still lying one, so Armstrong now with a chance to put in a second counter. And for Canada, this is a pretty good house. All of the action is in the back of the rings. Not much chance here for Sweden to steal the point unless they make a real good one with their last. And 10 countries in Paralympic wheelchair curling, and they qualified
Bit of an
through the
adventure,
past
eh?
3 World Championships. Canada qualified on top. Then host Russia was second. The other countries were China, Sweden, Great Britain, USA, Korea, Slovakia, Norway, and Finland. The top 4 countries at the conclusion of the round robin advanced to the semifinal playoffs, leading to a final gold medal match. Jim Armstrong looking for good weight on the end turn. Looking quite nice. Does it have the legs to get as far as he wants? Gets into the rings, but only enough to be about 4th shot. But pretty good guard on his stone. Oh, another 3 feet of weight, and that would have been just absolutely perfect. Right to the top 4 foot would have been good. Chance for Sweden here to just sneak by that top one now and freeze on a shot stone. Might be impossible to get out if they do that. As we watch the skip from Sweden prepare to throw, we'll also notice that there's 2 lines. Just the center line is the red one, and 2 lines each side 18 inches away. The stone must be delivered within those 2 lines, which means really a player can't go all the way over by the sideboards and throw from a far angle. Must throw within the center area.
Bra.
Canada shot stone. The shot from the hand of the Swedish skip.
Den sitter du
Right
satte
to
bra.
freeze
Johan.
right in. And the sheet has been difficult. Anything with not a lot of handle has been really stopping quickly and really fudging. This one
13,
too is
15.
not having quite enough weight and may even race Canada in. Nope, just muscles up. But not good enough to do any damage. As Canada still remains shot stone. That stone drawn in there by Ina Forrest.
Actually, do you know what? Give me that a little bit less. I'll just make sure I'm positive with it.
If that yellow is,
Sonia and Dennis talking strategy at the far end. Preparing to have Jim come down the ice and throw his last stone. At N3. Canada trails it by a score of 2-1, having given up a deuce in the second end, but have a chance to get that back right here.
I don't want to take any more ice. I'll just make sure I'm positive with it.
Jim said positive means he just wants to be definitely out to the broom, not inside of the line. Out to the broom, it'll stay out there a little bit longer because he's worried about this one curling too much. A bit more weight too. Will it come over enough to stop in play? And this rubs, rolls a hair too far. Good try, but Canada will have to settle for one. There's good force by Sweden. And Canada only take the one. So tie game. The best counter in the rings belong to Canada, but just the single one.
Tvinga på dem en
A lot of rocks in play, but only a count of one. Let's listen in to Sweden.
Det är ju skitbra. Ja. Att det ska vara så bra för honom. Ja, det är lite trevligt. Nej, men det är bra. Det tycker jag är bra fokus. Vi har ju fortfarande lite finlir med det här, men jag tycker vi gör det jättebra i fokus. Jag tycker det är bättre nivå på det här nu. Skitbra. Nu hänger vi i det här då. Nu har vi hamnat, så nu försöker vi ändå ta en tvåa eller något.
Tied 2-2 after 3 ends of play between top contenders, Canada and Sweden, in this grudge match from the final of the World Championship last year in this same arena in Sochi, Russia. That was played in January. Canada won 5-4 in a very closely contested game. Jim Armstrong's team took gold there, and then back in 2010 also got gold in the Olympics, the Paralympic wheelchair curling in Vancouver, where they, in the final, led Korea by a score of 8-1 after 4 ends and held on to win by a slim score of 8-7, but they did get gold. Sonia Goody, the first player in Olympic history to win 2 Paralympic golds in wheelchair curling. In 2013 was inducted into the Curling Hall of Fame in Canada. She has the 2 golds in the Olympics from 06 and 2010, and also 3 world golds in 09, 11, and 13. Her husband Dan Goody, and 2 kids, Alison Coulter. She's a teacher at the Okanagan College.
Bra! Bra! Bra!
Throw here by Christina Wandler. A Newlander, her hobbies is equestrian and strength training. Her motto, always do your best. Some early guards here. Canada counted in that last end, so of course they threw first in this end, having scored. The advantage of last stone, the hammer, reverts to Sweden. 2-2 tie here. A very tight match so far. And here we see the nickname, the Brain. See that handle she has? That's her own little invention that she holds on to help brace her. Seems like an awfully good idea to me. And a good throw, too. Teacher at Okanagan College, and her motto, giving up, that's not an option. Loves kayaking, fishing, and cross-country skiing. Started curling in Vernon in 2003 and trains 8 months a year.
Has tightened up. Well, we thought that way was a little heavier. That way was heavier than coming this way before,
The Hall of Famer, Sonia Goody.
Yeah, well,
Nothing in the ring so far, but lots to work with. There's 3 guards out front. So first one in, buried in behind, would certainly have an advantage here. Nikki Ulander,
lite ute!
32-year-old from
Lite! Bra!
Amsfors in Sweden, playing the shot. And a good one here could really set the end up for Sweden. And there are 4 sheets of ice here in the Sochi Ice Cube Curling Center. And there's 4 games to watch at one time for the fans. This arena holds 3,000. And when a shot is missed, there's of course some terminology used for different ways. Certainly the weight. Too heavy is right through the rings. So far we've seen the stones light of the rings. Not enough speed. And then the accuracy thing, wide and narrow of the brush target. And wide means out too far, and narrow means inside of the line. And certainly on this ice, you can't be afford to be inside the line very much because the stones curl quicker if you're inside at all. Ice reading a big factor on this ice. Being able to determine how much curl is expected in various spots.
13-2.
Well, we've got a pile of stones in front of the rings right now. Let's see what Sweden expects here. Lots of chances to play tap-ins.
Det fan vad vi ska göra för att...
The first team to get one buried in behind certainly would have a distinct advantage.
Dra runt då. Japp!
Tar du var en halv eller?
Vad sa du?
Tar du var en
Going
halv
wide
eller?
on the
12! Det kommer inte
the
räcka med
upturned
12
side of the sheet. Patrick Kellen making the play.
Du ligger inne.
And he states the ice has been slow and there's been big time curl. It's very frustrating. Definitely different than the World Championships last year. The players now are finding out that these are different stones. These are the same stones that were used during the Olympics a couple of weeks ago, not the ones that were here at the Worlds last year. And of course, stones can be different. Glenn began curling 2000 in Stockholm. Where his goal is to medal here in 2014 is Hero Pele, a Brazilian Pele. Patrick has been training as a future skip. He's been training to step up to the skip position in his club competitions in Sweden.
You got her out that time.
Right through, right?
Good attempt to get to that back stone. This ice is very tricky today.
His.
The team's having to take plenty of ice because there's a lot of curl. And any time that they're a little bit overweight, stone just goes right through the curl. This ice is, I would call, very weight sensitive. You throw 10 feet too much weight, you go right through the curl. The player's having a hard time finding that precise weight that will allow them to get the nice curl. Too light, it runs into a guard. Too heavy, it goes right through the curl. A tricky stuff. And it has some stones that just lose their handle too. See if this one can sneak by. Yes, it does. It's regaining the handle. Well, you see, all that talking to the stone actually did help. And this ice cube is one of a cluster of the new venues inside of the Olympic Park, just a few hundred yards from the Black Sea. Of course, it was the recent site for the excitement of the Olympic curling a couple weeks ago. And now the venue hosts this medal sport of Paralympic wheelchair curling. Ina playing 88% on their takeout so far. Needs a good takeout here. Sweden is line 2. We put plenty of spin on that stone. It's contact, but not enough weight to throw it, bounces all the way out of the rings.
Connected, eh?
Sweden still line 2.
9-7.
Sweden able to follow that same path and perhaps lie 3. And the countries competing in this Paralympic curling have been provided with the best ice conditions by 2 master ice technicians, namely Scott Henderson of Edinburgh, Scotland, and Joachim Fritz of Baden-Baden, Germany. They're the same 2 that made the ice World Championships last year here. Of course, different stones are used. As Joachim tells us, Scott is the sheriff and I'm the deputy. We try to provide the best ice possible. Will that stone hang? Nope, it just slips out the back. Boy, the player is having a real difficult time just mastering the speed in that spot. And short would have been better than long there. A short stone would have at least blocked the path. And now Ina has a chance to play a draw, and anything right down to that back stone would really perhaps take this end away from Sweden. Sweden is presently lying 2 and has the advantage of the last stone. But there's plenty of degree of difficulty in this end. And with his left hand, it will be her in turn. Counterclockwise rotation. Good line, but is there enough speed? Just ran out of speed at the hog line. Canada missing their last 3 or 4 shots. Sweden with an opportunity now to build a big end.
Ser man det där hålet i mitten?
Ska vi testa det?
Nej. Men jag frågar om man ser det.
Ja, det ser rätt stort ut.
Jag frågar...
It was mentioned this venue in Sochi, the Ice Cube, had hosted the wheelchair championships last year in
Jag är
January,
rädd
and
för att
then
de ska testa det.
the World Junior Championships last
Nej,
March
men hur ser det ut?
as a test event leading
Ser
up to
det
the Winter
öppet
Olympics.
ut?
Ja, det ser öppet ut.
Vi tar dragningarna i alla fall.
Okej.
Try
Det är
that
för
draw
stor
again.
risk att vi öppnar upp
Ja,
fel där.
Each time they're having to go a little bit wider with the broom. And each time they go wider,
Den är
they're
så
onto
svår så
more
vi låter han göra den.
virgin ice that hasn't been thrown on yet.
Lite ute. Lite
Glenn
där.
Ikonen with the throw. Began curling in 2000 in Stockholm. And his motto, 4th place, is the first place for the losers. He'd like to do better.
Ja, det där blir bra.
Well, good shot, kept that high in the rings and really blocks off that in turn for Armstrong. Sweden lying 3, and there is really a shrunken up house here. I don't think that Jim can possibly get to the inside of that stone and get the inside roll. So right now, this is just damage control. He could go over to the other side of the sheet, totally ignore this, and try and bury on the other side, try and draw around.
No, neither do we.
Got a corner around too. Wow.
Doesn't look like what he sees. He could go to the other side of the sheet. Attempt to draw there. He doesn't know the ice very well out there. It hasn't been played. Hit by Jim. Once again, is there enough weight there to move it out? Yes, will be. Good removal. And Jim actually joined the wheelchair program in Canada, first of all as a consultant. And after that, he found himself in bad shape, and here he is now playing in the program.
Inte riktigt spelar den här omgången som vi vill, men man får ta sina chanser ändå på något sätt. Jag är lite orolig för mitten där, jag vet inte. Men jag tror vi ska nog stoppa dragningen, är nog värre ändå.
And some good quotes here by Skip Jungnell. He says, we have the responsibility of trying to go all the way, but he says at the same time, we need to be aware that 6 or 7 other countries are thinking exactly the same way. He said, as a viewer, when I watch sports, he said, I like to know a lot about the players and things in behind the scenes. He says, hopefully they describe us in that way. And a good speed here, but will this low hold its handle? Stone taking the other turn. Will it bite the rings? Yes, it does. So it is a biter can count too, so it is a troublemaker for Canada. This ice just a little bit soft today. Soft on the surface. A lot of stones losing their handle. The reason for that could be in warm conditions inside of the arena. When you get a packed house of fans put off, and your ice can soften up a little bit on the surface.
It's just touching too, right?
Yep.
And the ice is pebbled before the match with water droplets which freeze onto the ice. The reason being for that is that curling stones do not travel well on perfectly flat ice. It's like a plunger on the floor if you try and pull it. It won't go anywhere. So the ice is pebbled. There's a little bit of airflow then underneath the stone. Now, if that pebble wears down and flattens more, there's not so much airflow under the stone, and definitely the stones can have trouble holding their turn. Jim looking to have another gander at what's going on down at the far end. He's not too sure of this shot.
Oh, he didn't, okay. Yeah, that's why.
He's seen the draw many times, but that hasn't worked out real well either for those trying it.
Gotta come right across the face of it.
Looks like he's playing the hit and roll. Jim, very experienced, knows he's in trouble here. And
Can't take ourselves out of the game now.
Yeah.
he's saying that if we play the draw and miss it, they are getting 4. Any kind of contact here holds it to a 3-ender. It hasn't been a good in for Canada. They just haven't come up with the goods. Big hit here with an inside roll. He could dig himself out of this end. Fires that one. Follows it closely with the eye. He'd like some curl at the end for the inside roll. Wow, what a super shot. Ho, ho, ho. Wowee, the fans love that shot. Incredible. Looking at 3, Jim Armstrong makes the hit and the roll perfectly in behind to the back of the button, and there's guards galore out in front of the rings covering up that stone. Is there a port? A tiny little hole for Sweden to negotiate through. A great shot by Jim. And the message was there all the way. Hit that yellow and make the perfect roll. The best shot we've seen so far of the match. And if you're working on percentages, anyone who's doing the percentages for this game better give him a bonus for that shot. Really makes it difficult now for Sweden. There's a very tiny hole.
Okay.
Stones are 11.5 inches in diameter. And that port might be 13, maybe 14 inches. So not much room on either side of that hole for a stone to get through. Well, through the hole, there might be a 3-ender for Sweden. Not through the hole, it's a steal of 1 for Canada. So this could be a 4-point swing, one way or the other. Yao Zhang now will throw the in turn. About 18 inches of ice. Everyone is holding their breath on this big shot. To be inside the target. It took off early. Fortunate does not raise Canada in for 2, but it is a steal of 1. The best shot of the match so far. That by Jim Armstrong, the skip of Team Canada. Guess that's why he's a world champion from last year and an Olympic champion at over 10 from Vancouver.
Okay, I was.
Sweden's end all the way, but Canada stole it with that great shot by Jim Armstrong on his last stone. His team giving him congratulations. For Canada, at the halfway point of this match, leads it by a score of 3-2, a very tight match so far against the number 2 ranked country in the world, Sweden. The fans are really enjoying this great curling today. 3,000 seats at the Ice Cube. Look at that. Nice hit where. And the pressure's off Canada for the moment. There's the 5th player, Idison, and the coach, Joey Ray. Knuckle punch for everyone. Well, the first 4 ends are in the books in this big match between Canada and Sweden. Look at Canada's stats here. Jim Armstrong only playing 31%. And Manny made a big shot on that last stone on the 4th end to get his team out of trouble.
You have to be there. If you slide through, you know what? You do it, right? But that one that's up high, it's just, we can't even play the same track again, right? Yeah, so I'm not knocking anybody. You know what? This is tough conditions. Really tough conditions. So let's take it the way it is. But think in size, right? Think in size. And Sonia, don't be hard on yourself. You know what?
The 2 teams meeting with their coaches.
That's my first full shot.
Armstrong said it was his first full shot of the game. As we look at Sweden, Patrick Halen with a big game, 69% at second. Best in the shooting so far for Team Sweden. They talk with their coach, Matt Maybergs.
Bara man tänker på att det kommer vi ut lite så går det tydligen när vi är tvungna att vara där. Att vi ökar lite.
Ja, men det här ska vi ta.
Ja,
de fick jobba för sin nästa.
Ja, men. Det känns bra. Tiden har vi lite sådär med.
Men det börjar se bättre ut nu. Ett tag låg det där.
And both teams really talking about how to master the ice, make it work best for them. Canada 67% on their takeouts, compared to Sweden for 57%. Close on the draws. Well, the percentage is pretty close between these 2 teams so far. It was just that big shot from Armstrong which has made a difference on the scoreboard. Canada leading it by a score of 3-2. And for those of you new to Paralympic curling, it first came on the scene in 2002 with the first World Championship in Sochi, Switzerland, with the Swiss winning gold over Canada 7-6. Then Torino, also known as Turin, was the first Paralympic appearance and introduction for curling. Chris Daw of Canada defeated Jack Duffy of Great Britain 7-4 to win gold in Torino. And in Vancouver 2010 Canada was this Jim Armstrong team, which led the final 8-1 over South Korea and held on to win gold by a score of 8-7. Canada scored in N4, so they will play the opening stone here of N5. It'll be from the hand of Sonia Goody of Vernon, British Columbia, on the west side of the mountains, up towards Vancouver. Canada wanted that opening stone right to the top 4 foot, a little bit deep, but nonetheless in the ring. It does appear that Sweden is asking for a corner guard out into the free guard zone. Christina Eulander will play that corner guard. The reason for the guard is that it's in the free guard zone in front of the rings. According to the 4-rock rule, the stone cannot be totally removed from play by Canada until after the 4th stone at the end is played, so that guard is pretty safe right now. Canada won't make an attempt to remove it. Canada will just ignore it and play into the rings. And Sweden has that guard they can draw around. Jim negotiating over the other side of the rings. Like to play that turn. And Sonia with the throw here. She loves kayaking and fishing, cross-country skiing and camping. Trains 8 months of the year. And she said that so far of the competition, she said it's just figuring out the ice more than anything. She said the ice is curling more than last year, even more than when we practice at home. So you really have to be out to the broom, and you can't be tight on the shots inside of the line. And we said we have tremendous support from our fans, and we're happy for that. And she's had trouble with that second stone of hers. She stopped short a number of times. I certainly think they'll be writing that down on their book. The notebook, that stone hasn't reacted well for her.
Sorry, Sonia.
And now Sweden, rather than drawing around the corner guards, will first take care of business. Play a hit on that stone in the back ring. Nikki, if she's known, to play the hit. Her partner is Jorgen Forsland. She works in educational administration. Nice hit. Hit and stay. Gets rid of the red. Canada will play a freeze down of that stone. A little surprising here. Canada without the hammer. Of course, that stone is well guarded. They could probably see enough to move it out with hack weight, but Jim asking for just the draw. Good call, though. Left-hander Dennis Thiessen. Married, his wife Helen, with three children. Might have enough weight to tap it. Look at the curling it's still doing. Wow, just took off past the guard. And as Jim Armstrong said in his interview, he said, we're struggling with the ice. He says, I'm struggling. And he says, I think it's the rocks. They curl like crazy, and we saw that there. says these are the Olympic stones, and they do curl a lot. He says it's fantastic if you have great sweeping, where you can hold a line. And he says we do like curl because it's definitely nice to be able to bury stones in behind cover. But on the other hand, when you don't have the advantage of sweeping, you can run into a lot of guards if you're just a little bit light. He says the difference is night and day. But he says the same for everybody, so we have to play well. Just get used to it. Take-out attempt, and just misses running off that guard. Sticks on his own. I didn't understand that call from Sweden. They certainly had a chance to play another stone into the ring. Not too sure why they went with the peel. Really a defensive call there for them. It didn't work out either. Calls are always bad when they don't work out. Beeson, very similar shot to his first one. And there we saw that time both Ina and Sonia bracing his chair.
That's the one.
And looking pretty good for line. The tap. Just enough to get it out past the back line and remove it from play. Very nice shot for Dennis. The fans like that stone. So does he. It's the high fives from Sonia, the lead.
I klippen här. Du behöver inte vara rädd om du är ute nu, för då tar du den där istället.
I'm not quite understanding the big concern about this guard. There's plenty of room to curl around it. And Skipper seems very determined to get it out of the way. Definitely could curl around and freeze right up to Canada. And chips the guard off, opens it up. Obviously, the skipper Sweden, Jung Nell, has something in mind and definitely knows what he wants to leave himself for the last shot. Now, Ina Forrest, the third player for Team Canada, also a left-hander. Her second Paralympics. As part of the gold medal winning team in Vancouver in 2010. She's won 3 golds in World Championships as well. Very decorated. I think it's just top 8-foot ring, top 4-foot. That's looking pretty good. Nice shot. Nice weight from Ina.
Okej. Princip, köp.
Okej.
Tar du båda de där sen?
Yes.
Glenn Ikonen, vice skip for Sweden.
Lite ut. Där. Nej, lite inne nu, Glenn. Lite till. Ja, bra.
A man who plays para-table tennis and wheelchair basketball as well.
Ja, ja.
Only played 1 takeout in this game so far and missed that one. 47% so far. This looks like a pretty good line. Missed the top of it, gets the back one, and will it hang around? Yes, it does for second shot, and that might be behind the guard. We'll see. Well, it's definitely open for Jim, but he has shot stone and is going an aggressive route here. We'll ask for the guard. And although there's always input from Team Canada on the strategy, we certainly do not see too many arguments or disagreements with Jim's calls. His team is buying in very well to his strategy. Obviously, they have a lot of respect for his skipping ability and his judgment. It's a definite plus on any team. Ina Forrest Port St. John product. And cool that'll Vernon too. I'd like to follow her first stone. Get the perfect guard just short of the rings. That's a very nice shot. Good stone on her first one and on the second as well. And Canada's here seeking their third consecutive Paralympic gold in wheelchair curling.
Tar du den är det okej, men du tar du den är det också bra om du flyttar undan
Flytta
där.
utflyttning. Jalle, jag flyttar ut den.
Flytta ut.
Canada won gold in Torino. No,
Får jag
6 in.
flytta dit den där, ja?
This Jim Armstrong team
Får jag flytta ut den där
duplicated
uppe?
it in 2010 in Vancouver by winning gold.
Ja, så länge de inte tangerar linjen.
And they have the lead in this game by a score of 3-2, but it's just one big shot by Jim Armstrong in the last stone of the fourth end, which made the difference as he got out of a mess and stole one.
Jag har svårt att se här, tar du alla.
Glenn Ikonen,
Ja, det ligger bra.
he too has said the ice has been very different than last year's World Championship here, and everyone is attributing to the stones being just a little bit more aggressive in the curl. His hero is Brazilian soccer player Pelé. His second miss on a hit of a game. Just a little bit too much weight went right through the curl. And now Armstrong can really seal up the deal here with a good guard. And Jimbo, as he's known, heads down the ice. And both teams started the game with 68 minutes on their time clocks to play their portion of the game.
Hey, Jim.
Been
Well, they
quite
got
a
rid of
speedy
that
game,
guard for
so
me.
there should be plenty of time on both clocks yet.
We don't
If
actually
the team runs out of time, they forfeit the match right then and there. Jim could really get aggressive here and play into the rings and try and bury another one, but I suspect that it's just the guard in this shot. Try to really block up the front. He said himself he just made his first full shot of the game, that great shot at the end of the fourth end. Never seeing another stone with not a great amount of handle on it, although now it's turning nice. Wow, gonna be a good one. Buries right in behind that guard for second shot. Well, they say often second shot is as good as a guard, and that one certainly is. They make it doubly tough on Sweden.
Titta hur det ser ut uppifrån.
Canada line 2 now under cover. This end has backfired for Sweden a little bit. I did not like their strategy halfway through the end, really worrying about that side guard and hitting away at it. They let Canada beat them in behind. Now let's see if they might pay the
Det
price
var
for that.
skjuta garden ändå alltså. Jag vet inte om vi ska ta... Nej. Det är ett jävligt svårt slag, men vi kanske ska öppna upp i alla fall.
Armstrong looks
Skjuta
on,
garden innan går jag.
liking what he
Så det inte
sees in this
trycker ut.
end.
Ja.
Rullar den över dit då. Träffar vi där. Ska se om vi ska träffa han. Träffa i princip lite på sidan, utsidan.
Well, there's two ways of looking at this, really, for the skip from Sweden. He could be aggressive and play the end turn around that guard and attempt to freeze right into the shot
Ja, det
stone.
var ingen roligt läge.
That's a very low percentage shot. If he made it, great, but if he doesn't, and Armstrong guards up the center of the ice, he really might not have nothing for his last stone attempt. So in a smart manner, he's at least trying to make sure he has a shot for his last stone, some kind of shot. Now we see number 8 on that stone, sheet A on the very front of the stone, the A. Skips generally throw stones 7 and 8. So the yellows would be numbered 1 to 8 for their 8 stones. Although you certainly can trade with one of the other team members if you don't like a stone. Good hit here and peel off that guard. At least that will provide the Swedish skip with some type of open shot. There's last stone. And Armstrong will try to make it difficult though. Jim asks for the brush out almost to the edge of the 8 foot.
That's right.
They line them all up.
Yeah, but then
When he pushes
About
through.
4.5 feet for this guard. As he travels down to the far end.
Okay, Jim.
Okay.
Stick one up there, Jimmy.
Just lob one down there. Ideally stay high side, leave the outside mark.
Well, he said it all. Just lob it down there. Guard the center line side more and leave the outside. Here's Swedish skip. Well, let's see how he lobs it down there. And Jimbo with that in turn. And once again, the stone not having much of a handle to it. But nonetheless, the perfect guard exactly where he wanted it. Could not have carried it down and placed it any better. And that'll be up to Sweden. Canada with the 2 best counters in the rings. A good chance for them to steal 2. Sweden will need the 4 foot to count. Sonia and Dennis look on. Their eyes were looking towards the replay screen in the arena. Well, this is a very tough shot here. Drawing the 4 foot in curling is never a piece of cake, even with sweeping. This will have to be letter perfect. And this ice is definitely flattening out a little bit in the center area where there's been a lot of traffic, a lot of stones played.
Well, as good as anywhere.
And that ice is flattening out a little bit. The stones can more easily lose their handle and curl more right at the end and even slow down faster. So definitely a bit of a guess here for Zhang Nao. On this in-turn draw to the button. His teammates pulling for him big time. They trail it 3-2 to Canada, and Canada does have 2 good counters close to the 4 foot. Will this have enough weight to sneak by? Oh no, there's that tremendous amount of curl right at the end. While throwing, but the ice really bit that stone hard from the hog line in and took all the weight off of it. 2 best counters in the ring belong to Canada. It's a steal of 2. Jim must feel pretty fortunate to have that kind of a lead, a 3-point lead at this stage.
Shape side.
After 5 ends of play, Canada leads at 5-2.
It wasn't your weight on your second one. It's just you tossed it wide, eh? You know, you got out in no man's land, that's all. So, neither way works this way.
Right.
I'm not talking for you, I'm just talking generally.
No, I know, yeah.
So
This
I'll
way's
give you
heavy.
in turn. Okay?
Okay, so it's heavier this way. We all believe it's heavier this way. I believe
Canada has it all figured out. Jim has the terminology in his hip pocket. You just lob it out there, throw it in a no man's land, all those good terms. And they're definitely having a difficulty establishing a good center rock or a stone into the center area on their opening stone of the rings. Canada counted there, so they'll play first shot. Definitely they'll take wide ice here because there's a lot of curl from the hog line in. The 2 skips agreeing that last shot was very difficult. Hope and guess, yes. – 'Sonia with the opening shot of this Sixth end of play. And the Brain, as she is known, places that into the top forefooot off the center line. I like that nickname. It's because of that post she has on the side of her chair for throwing. Nikki Eulander, 32-year-old, had a good game. 58% so far. A nice draw to the side of the ring. Sweden wanted that one short of the rings out in the free guard zone, but it's still not bad.
Hey, Sonia.
Definitely accessible for hitting because it is not in the free guard zone when it's in the rings.
Oh, you're a girl.
Sonia playing the takeout. A teacher at Okanagan College in Vernon. And there's that unique piece of equipment that she holds on to. Definitely a good invention. See how her accuracy is here. Has contact, but not quite enough weight to remove the stone belonging to Sweden. Ricochets it over in behind the button area. Sweden trails it by 3 points, but has the advantage of the last stone here. Already are counting one, so might be able to add to it. The difficulty for Sweden here is that the second player, Dennis Thiessen for Canada, is a very strong hitter.
Yep.
Thiessen so far 81% on his hits in this game, so Sweden thinking, where can we put this where Canada won't have an easy hit on it? And this now the fourth stone of the end, so the 4-rock rule will no longer be in play. Canada will be able to wail away on anything they see. And with a 5-2 lead, I'm pretty sure Canada would like to be in hitting mode. Wow, look at the move at the end there. That stone finishes hard across the center line. Definitely that center track is flattening out. Stones are really curling hard when they enter that area. And we see that happen even more in able-bodied curling, where the players are always sliding out with the sliding delivery through that area, and their sliders and the extra sweeping really can flatten that area out. Thiessen, very accurate, as I mentioned, 81% of his hits so far. We'll play his out turn with the clockwise rotation. Very interesting to see how that handle is applied. The stick, a great invention for wheelchair curling. Plenty of handle on it. And he does come up with the shot. The fans love it. Well, that's really the most important thing for a second in curling, whether it be wheelchair or able-bodied, is to be a strong hitter. Quite often the leads set the table, put the stones in play, and then the seconds play a lot of hitting. In a normal game, the leads are playing about 90% draws and not too many takeouts, and the seconds generally about 70% hits and 30% go to a draw. Second player, Patrick Kalin. And his second player, also a nice shot, looked for the inside roll, didn't quite get it. And Patrick has been training to be a future skip. In Paralympic wheelchair curling, he's been skipping a team at home in club competitions. same broom, same spot, same speed, same turn for Dennis Thiessen. See how accurate he is. Once again, plenty of turn. Good throw on sheet A. That same pass, just tight by the guard and the roll, but it rolls too far for it to be totally buried. But what a nice shot again. Canada keeping Sweden under control in this end. And the lead's at 5-2. And Sweden looking for ways in which they can catch up, mount a comeback. And for Thiessen, a friend asked him to try out the sport, and he fell in love with it.
Du ligger ute.
Ja, bra.
Lite inne. Bra.
A little different spot in the ice here. This has been tricky over by the boards. Sweden does with this shot. Looks good. Wow. Buried somewhat in behind the guards. Partially buried anyway. It'll make it difficult for Canada.
If you get that, that's okay.
And you can see with Canada the good communication they have. They don't say much.
Yeah, and it's all yours.
When they say it, everybody listens on their team, and very good communicators. You can tell they've played a lot together. And Canada good on their takeouts, 65%. And Forrest has been 75% of her takeouts. I'm sure she put plenty of handle on that stone. Perfect shot, just past the guard. And, this end, Canada has had real proficient accuracy on their hits, making it very difficult for Sweden to hide. Niner, her education is in English and history from Simon Fraser University in Burnaby, BC. Well, it's time here for Sweden to really make the big shot. They're counting on Glenn Eichen in their third.
Bra.
Very experienced player. .54% on his draws so far in this game. And once again, the stone losing its handle, not turning very much. Cap Canada. And Jim says, okay, we're line 3. Let's put a fourth one in, a blocking stone. Just up to the front rings on the end turn. Canada with a very nice house setup so far. In this sport, curling in general goes back to the old days of Scotland in the 1600s when the locks, when they froze, the call went out for curlers to bring their stones. And in those days, stones were all shapes and sizes. On the frozen locks, they would play the grand match. Many sheets of curling ice. Hundreds or thousands of players at a time. And a lot of the crazy terminology, hogline, house. The last end of going home or coming home is referred to. So the Scots gave the world curling and golf. And Scotland's settlers went across the world. Many times they took curling stones with them and introduced curling across the world. And Scotland introduced curling into Russia in the early 1900s. And it wasn't until the 1980s that curling really took off in Russia. And curling now played in about 45 countries across the world. 24 countries play wheelchair curling. A chance here for Sweden with perfect weight. Will this one dig? This one has to dig in and stop. Has the perfect line, but slides a little too far. Oh, so close, but yet so far.
Den där är bättre.
Jim Gold says, give me the edge of the 8-foot for ice. And I'm going to plug up the front. And Jim Armstrong also goes by the nickname Big Guy.
If you close it off, that's fine.
His wife Suzanne Klein, and children Greg, Jamie, and Jody. Used to be a dentist in the past from the University of BC, and curls out of the Richmond Curling Club in Vancouver. Always a very friendly chap over the years. There's that spot. Very tricky to get the weight in. A little bit slow and they stop quick, a little bit too much speed and they keep going. So nobody has been able to master that in turn on 3 or 4 attempts.
Oh, even that not enough. Says you throw drag weight, eh?
Pebble just getting a little bit flat in the center of the sheet.
Bra!
Sweden really needing to come up with the big shot here. Selecting the out-turn hit and roll. Jean-Nel will attempt it. Can't really stand behind cover. He spins half an inch open, but that is a beautiful shot. The same stone that Armstrong made in the 4th end to save the end. Jean-Nel says, well, if you can do it, I can do it too.
Niklas 4.
This is a tricky spot for Jim. He's taking about 4 inches of ice more than his shot just before this one. And he'll need at least 10 feet more weight.
Kunde inte stanna 2 fot tidigare?
Ja, precis. Okay, Jim.
She was right for playing it safe the first one.
Yeah, thank you.
Jim lining things up. Getting encouragement from Goody and Dennis. Dennis braces his chair. Needs at least 10 feet more than he had on his first one. This definitely looks better. A little bit too much weight. It goes right through the curl. Oh, there it loses its handle. We've seen a lot of that as the pebble just flattens a little bit on this ice. And certainly I would say that ice makers are working on that as much as possible, ice technicians. And Scott Henderson from Edinburgh. The other factor too is that compared to able-bodied curling, it's more difficult with the stick to get a big handle on with a stone when the ice is getting a little bit soft and stones are losing their handle.
Well, I could make a comment like,
Jim didn't finish that comment for us. I was waiting to hear what he might have to say. And certainly the curlers love ice that is curling a lot because it gives them the advantage to draw in behind guards. The worst thing would be perfectly straight ice that doesn't curl at all, and all players have seen that and really dislike it. The curlers want curl. I would say for a wheelchair curling about 3 to 3.5 feet is the perfect amount. 4.5 without sweep is a little bit much for them at times.
Det är bra.
Sweden with a chance for 2. The final stone of N6. A great shot on his first one. Young Nell, the skip from Sweden. If he can make a good shot here too, he can take a 2-ender. Looking awfully fine. Wowee, 2 beautiful back-to-back shots. Both right close to the button, one touching it. And those are the best shots for Sweden of this game, earning them a 2-ender.
Härligt, Jalle.
And now putting this match in doubt. It's not over yet.
Det tackar vi för.
You're through the shack. You're through the shack. Okay.
So, do you want me to continue crossing over on those hits? I mean,
How are you going to throw them?
Well, because you pulled, no, on the hits, you
No.
asked him to go back to center.
Only because it gives them a lot, takes the guard out of play.
Yeah, so I'm just asking, do you want
Yeah,
to still
no,
cross over or go back to
No,
center?
we'll keep crossed over.
Okay, yep.
Good meeting by Canada. They mentally rebounded already from giving up to 2. I mean, life goes on. Next end is the important end. You stressing what just happened. And that's a good sign of a curling team. You pour your energy into the next end. And although Canada gave up 2 to Sweden there, Canada still leads it 5-4 after 6 ends of play. And in those quick little team meetings between the end, it's good for a team to perhaps talk about what happened just for a second, but then switch straight over to concentrating on the next end. Pour the energy into what can be done. The in-turn guard from Nicky, the lead for Sweden. Wow, look at the curl here. It'll go all the way over for a corner guard. And these stones, which come from the Isle of Ailsa Craig, just off the coast of Scotland, they're harvested and then taken as blocks to the factory and shaped and polished to the great, beautiful stones they are. 42 pounds each. And the running surface, that part touching the ice on the bottom, is the blue hone granite. Very, very dense granite, impervious to water. And that's the rim on the bottom, which makes contact with the ice. And that just shows you in this game how finicky the ice can be, how precise the ice has to be. And of course, during a curling career, you see ice of all types, all shapes and sizes, different amount of curl, sometimes center high ice, sometimes center low, sometimes slanted ice. Everything curls in one direction, not in the other. This ice here is very, very good ice. The player's just having a little bit of trouble with the amount of finish there is, and the amount of curl from that last hog line to the stop. Well, a couple of things to look for here is, I would say, definitely during the round robin, this ice will straighten up a little bit as the competition goes on. Generally, the ice tends to tighten as the ice freezes harder and harder and gets a little bit denser during the competition. In many competitions, the stones will not curl as much towards the end of the competition as they are from the start and in the middle of the competition. Well, I expect the curling to get stronger and better as every session is held. And of course, the players adapt better too. Each game they become more proficient at figuring the ice out. And many times in curling, it's not the opposition if you're playing solely. You are definitely playing the ice. It's like a golf course, and you have to figure out the golf course, and here you have to figure the ice out and make it your friend. Sonia. Nice weight on this one. And this shot right to the back button area. Canada line 2, and they do have the advantage of last stone in this all-important 7th end.
Japp. 11. Ska jag flytta ut? Nej. Nej.
Du ligger lite inne.
Patrick looking for a nice weight on the end turn. As Nicky holds the chair for him. And made sure he put plenty of spin on this shot. This spot has really been taken off. Looking good. Nice contact, good shot. This tops Canada out. It'll be up to Dennis Thiessen from Canada to try and follow that shot.
So back pointing at half?
Back line weight.
Back line? 11. Okay, 11 and a half? Yeah. 11 and a half, Dennis?
Yeah, yeah.
And Canada really has fond memories of this Sochi, the ice cube from last year in January when they won gold medal here. It's not quite by that center stone, but at least he opens it up. So not all bad. He taps that stone and leaves it in the rings. It's only third shot stone. It's not the big factor right now. The big factor right now is that stone on the button for Canada.
Japp.
That Sweden has.
Marginalkort. Ja, yes. Marginalkort.
And it's been Thiessen's first miss on a hit.
Inne.
He's very proficient.
Bra.
Bra.
Patrick Kellen, 35-year-old. Second Paralympics. They got the bronze medal. They won the bronze medal 2010 in Vancouver. It's a guard. That really swoops over at the end, but might spill off the corner guard. And partial guard. There is a port there, about 2 feet in width. Armstrong immediately places the brush. Just a little over around 2 feet of ice.
Same group as last time, but he needs more weight.
Yeah.
10 and a half.
He's hoping for better fortune on this stone compared to his first.
This time it's not.
He just nips the outside stone. Almost had the stone through the port. Advantage Sweden right now, though. They have shot stone. They have an opportunity to guard it up. Sweden looking for the steal in this end. Dennis with 2 misses, though this last one was very close. Well, that is a very strong counter right on the button. No way for Canada to draw that stone. If they come around the guard. Sweden would like extra protection, placing another guard between the hog and the rings. And Ikonen needs this over the hog line. Will it make it? Nope, must be fully over the hog line. That stone appeared to almost pick something up as it really stopped quickly. Not pleased with himself.
So 10 and a half? Yeah, 10 and a half.
Ikonen has said that this ice is just slower than what he's been used to. It's been very frustrating. Different than the World Championships here last January. Well, it's now up to third player, Ina Forrest from Canada. 81% in her takeouts in this game.
There you go.
Good dodge.
Just slips by the guard. Makes contact, gets the inside roll, and stays enough to be second shot stone. That's a beautiful shot.
No, I think that's just where it drops off. That was a 10-7.
Nice shot by Ina.
Holy smokes, eh?
And it really curled hard after the guard. It just took off.
80%. 80%.
Jag tar en hackfart.
Med en liten utflyttning kanske.
Ja, gör det då. 11 blankt.
Ja.
Träffa insidar.
Ina Forrest winning the battle of the third positions. In most big games, when the third is winning that spot, it really puts the pressure on the opposing skip.
Han ligger inne nu. Bra.
Sweden could play the in-turn draw around. That's probably the more preferred shot. Instead they are going with the out-turn. No success though. They run into their own guard. Canada still line 2. And that battle of the thirds right now is being won by Ina over Glenn Ikonen. Ina Forrest with the out-turn draw for her as a left-hander. Perfect position here would be right top forefoot. Throws and watches intently. Just creeps by the guard. Slips to the back 8 foot. Nice stone, Canada lies 3.
It just Swiss just goes.
Let's see what Sweden would like to play. Both turns are available. The in-turn, a big, huge port right down the center of the sheet. And the out-turn as well. Jolly Young Nell, skip for from Stockholm. Selecting the out-turn.
Men det är 10,5 där ute tror jag. Ja.
And he said that he's really happy this year that for the past while all of the players on his team have been healthy. The team has been able to play together consistently. And they've had good play all year. Right since they were in the finals here. World Championships last year in Sochi. And that's with any team, if you can get a consistent lineup and get to know your players real well. How they're playing the game. Very helpful. It is sneak by. Just by. Will it have enough speed though? Losing the handle right at the end. Handle line 2. Armstrong knows his shot right away. He'll play the in-turn draw. And Sweden trails it by a point. Canada has their advantage of last stone. And with that hammer advantage, Canada now has an opportunity to lie 3. And almost close out
right
Sweden for any chance.
Oh, I know. That's incredible. It's going sideways down.
Well, no, it's like wet.
And Armstrong talking about the conditions. It's very warm in the arena today. I think he's perspiring.
Okay, Jim.
You can even see a little bit of glow to the probably perspiration or condensation just on top of that stone. Pardon me for that term. When the ice gets a little bit sweaty and flattens out, like there's another stone losing its handle. Just getting the handle back at the end, and maybe good talking. Wow, what a super shot, though, right to the top 4 foot. Once again, Jim Armstrong couldn't have carried that stone down to a better position. Just a beautiful shot. And that, the number 7 stone from sheet A looks good for him. Big trouble here for Sweden. And Jim, we heard Jim mention that the ice was sweaty today and very wet on top.
Den är svår, men det är det vi har. Ja. Högre upp än vad man tror.
Jim Armstrong down front with the neck of a football player, very, very strong looking. Played football when he was young before he got involved in curling. Jim Armstrong with just a little bit better percentage on the skipping side. And both skips have made big shots. Jim Armstrong, a great shot and hit and roll in the 4th end to steal one when he was looking at a possible 3-ender against. And last end, as you see, a real good look at the grip there of the stone. A little bit of hole at the end of that just for the grasping the handle. And last end, it was the Swedish skip making 2 big shots to get a 2-ender. He's really being asked now to come through with a huge shot. He's looking at 3 counters. Makes the hit. Will he stay? Rolls. Be very close here to see who shot stone. It appears that Canada has one shot stone.
Yeah, we are shot at. I'm not going to change anything.
Kind of just making sure. Good shot there by the skip from Sweden. Might have saved this end if he can keep to a 1 count.
If he was within 8 inches of the broom, he wouldn't have a chance.
Okay, Jimmy. Do it. Put it in there.
Jim Armstrong with his last stone of the 7th end. An in-turn draw attempt for 2. Will it have the legs to get there? Needs to creep by all the guards and rubs that top guard. Might have had the weight on its own, but with that rub it took the weight off, and it'll only be a count of 1 for Canada. Looked like they were going to spring the big end, and it didn't happen. And Sweden survives a scare, hangs in this game. Only a count of 1 for Canada. Looking good for more.
Alltså 2, det är för aggressivt att försöka ta en 3, tror jag. Vi får göra det, tror jag. För att vi får jaga för mycket.
Spank it as bad as the first one. Okay. 4 foot or literally.
So after 7 ends of play, Canada leads it by a score of 6-4. Going into the 8th end, the final end of regulation play. Sweden will need 2 to tie it up. Generally, the hammer in curling should be worth 2. Some of the young spectators, of course, they've got a big computer out having a look at it. That's the thing to do. Canada, with the count of 1, will play the opening stone of this 8th end. It's been a great match so far. Both teams having their chances. And I'm pretty sure they'll both talk about the ice conditions after this match. The ice softening up a little bit, and particularly in the center zone areas. There's that great invention, that sidebar. I would think that more players would like to do that. There's that. Sonia, the curling Hall of Famer in 2013. Sweden. And both teams have had trouble holding the center line, and what I mean by that is that without the hammer, the team wants to play to the center, and they would like their stones right on the center line, whether they're in front or in the rings. And once again, that stone overcutting the center line by about 2 feet, a foot and a half. And of course, they could take more ice yet, just to make sure that doesn't happen. But they are already out past the edge of the H-foot, so they're taking about 4 feet of ice, getting about 5 feet of curl. Sweden definitely would like this stone into the free guard zone, make use of the 4-rock rule. Yes, nicely over the line and in front of the ring, so Canada can play a chip on that stone, but they cannot totally remove from play until after the 4th stone of the end has been played. Very nice shot for Christina. Armstrong ignoring the yellow stone. Let's see if they play another one into the rings or might just guard their own shot. Sonia's last stone at the 8th end. That's his second stone of hers. It's like almost the same look that she had on the first. This stone has given her trouble the entire game. It has been a very slow stone. And there, once again, it comes to a halt in a hurry. And she's been light with that stone many times, so she said, not light this time. I will give it definitely more and give it a chance. It went just a little bit too far for her. Now, Sweden, decision time here for their skip. Needs 2 to tie. Could draw behind the corner guard and hide behind it. First of all, deciding to deal with the red stones belonging to Canada. Of course, that corner guard is available later, unless Canada peels it off that way. This is the 4th stone of the end, so the free guard zone will not be in effect after this shot. Nice hit weight from Christina. Makes the hit. Leaves the stone in behind it. The red one not all bad, and certainly if Canada does the same thing and jams it onto the back line, the yellow would stay. Two things here. Canada could play the hit in the rings or peel off the corner guard to go after that stone that Christina just threw. Christina Eulander, a good match here, 55%. As Dennis Thiessen fires out on the end turn. Little inside and just runs by. He's been 70% on his takeoff in this game. Not that time.
Yep.
Dennis a little inside the target. Gets a slap on the shoulder from Sonia, says, okay, you make your next one. This is a big shot for Sweden. They need 2 to tie, 3 to win. Patrick Kalin, 35-year-old, works in information technology. Needs this stone to slow down quickly. Anywhere in the rings is a helper, even though it might not be shot stone. That's a good shot. Certainly offers Canada some nervous times. And Canada looking at one stone which is guarded and another stone where they have one in behind it for a potential jam. Let's see what Jim Armstrong's up to here. It looks like the ice for the drop. Following that stone which just went in behind the corner guard. And Canada under pressure here from Sweden, even though Canada leads it by a score of 6-4. Sweden is nicely in the process of building it in. And they're just playing the freeze down that back stone. Very nice shot by Thiessen. Dennis coming through when he's needed. Shot stone.
Vi drar hit. Fart dit! Yes!
And Sweden would dearly love to move that stone. It is shot right at the present moment.
Lite till. Bra!
Bra!
And this is just a heavy draw. Not much handling on that stone at all. It's destined for the out turn, but now it's taking the in turn. Well, it's going to be in the rings though, so that still offers Canada a problem. Sweden trailing it by 2 has 3 stones in the rings. This game far from over. Canada has to be careful. Jim's going aggressive here.
Okay.
If you're short,
Ina
fine.
Forrest for the guard.
It's all about path.
Okay.
And he mentioned it's all about the line.
So
How deep doesn't really matter. A guard is good too.
13? Yeah. Solid 13.
Ina mentioned number 13,
Sure you get
the
a
speed
handle on
in
there.
seconds, the time in seconds between the hog lines. Have the watch running on this stone just to see the amount of seconds in between the 2 hog lines. And that was a 12 and a half. The amount of seconds that took to travel between the 2 hog lines. And not as keen as that. Real keen ice would be 14, 14 and a half, perhaps 15. A little bit stickier ice is 13, where stone travels through that zone in a shorter time, 12 seconds, and stops quicker.
Ser du något av den där?
So slower ice.
Ser du den?
Jag ser den, ja.
Tough to take those 2 stones
Ta en
out.
hackfart då. Försöker rulla över dit.
Okej.
Might be able to tap it back.
11 blankt.
Ja.
Glenn Ikonen,
Ligger ute.
58-year-old from
Är det långt ute? Ute.
Hasselby in
Ute.
Sweden.
Ja, bra.
With his out turn. Definitely enough weight to do some damage if it can make contact. Well, that is a great shot, and the Yellowstone is closer. Shot stone. Super shot. And Bo runs out to have a look. We'll definitely have to deal with that stone.
Okay.
Same weight.
Jim asking for the freeze, the corner freeze,
Same weight.
one of the most difficult shots in curling.
Hey, Ina. Right out to the room.
The lefty. Ina Forrest needs the same weight as the first time. Looks like a very good throw. Just check the time. Travel time between the hog lines was 13 seconds. So just a little bit less speed Took more time between the hog lines. It means it wasn't going as fast through that zone. Less speed. Well, it really stopped quickly. There's not a lot of glide on this ice. And by glide, I mean a lot of slide from the hog line to stop from that last hog line. Stones are throwing the anchor up quite quick now.
Okej. Dutta ner den. Då öppnar vi för den också.
Lots of stones in the rings, but Sweden only counting one presently. Need 2 to tie, 3 to win. That counter will have been very difficult for Canada to do much with. The crowd really into this match.
Det blev en dragning, ja.
Good line if the weight is right. Just slid an inch, 6 inches too far at the end. Wow, great try. It was a messy house for Canada. Good try. Aikonen. Good shot on his first. And realizing he's in a mess.
I wonder if we're deep enough. Not really. There. And the next one up.
Jim Armstrong, the skip for Canada, calling a timeout.
Well, the problem is if we settle into that, we leave him kick him that one. He kicks
Sweden
that
taking
one.
the opportunity
That
to
one could be live.
talk to their teammates.
If we throw short, he kicks that in. We're looking at 3.
Canada will
We run the double is
talk
ideal. If we
strategy
lose this,
while
we're
their
green.
skip comes down from the, their coach comes from the bench.
The ideal would be that.
Yeah.
But if we lose this, we're toast. If we draw to this, we're high enough that if we don't get into it, he goes click, bang,
Bang, and then
that one's live. And that one's live. And that one's live.
Coach Joe Ray.
What if we do something with second?
Well, the problem is if we hit that and don't hit it right and we lose this
one here.
we're good for 3 or 4. Well, the ideal, but I have no way to play it, is to play the double.
Yeah.
If we come down here, I'm a little concerned that we don't make it really good. He goes click clunk, because we're going to be high enough now.
What if we just make contact on that one?
Well, that's the thing.
Give it a thumb. That one will always be there. That will always be there.
I mean, I guess if we could kick that an inch and sit
Just
1,
kick
2.
it. Like that, right? Then you're sitting and then drilling it back on this one too as well, right? You got to move this one here somewhere and get something in front of it, right? At least then you're forcing him to drive something past yours here, right?
Well, well, yeah, if we kick that, the only thing is we can't come too far with it either.
No. But even if you do, Jim, you're still
Yeah.
better off to,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. That
The
one will always be
official
there.
saying your minute's
Okay.
up. Canadian coach leaves the scene.
You got in about
sorry.
yeah, you got in about here, Ryan. for
It's
that.
definitely a tough situation for Canada. If they happen to misposition a stone here, it might be helpful to Sweden. Something Sweden can double off of. It will be the outturn for Jim Armstrong, the skip for Team Canada. The 63-year-old began curling at the age of 8. Played in 6 Canadian Briers. And First top event leading to the World Championships of able-bodied curling. And he's seen messes before, but here's another one. Sweden has made a nice shot from their third. Make it tough on him. It'll be the out turn. With draw weight. The team's throwing a bit more weight now than they had previous in the game, just because the ice is getting a little fudgy, a little bit soft. Just in that area right there. See how good this is. Oh, it just goes crazy at the end and curls over a lot from the hog line in. Armstrong really surprised by the amount of move. And he had a lot of weight on him. He had through plenty of speed. And it died quickly and swung over.
What's that? Yeah.
This ice definitely is getting soft in the center lane.
Nu stannar klockan.
Ja, den stannar.
Makes for exciting curling though.
Frågan är vad han gör. Det är inte bara frågan om vad vi gör.
Sweden down to 2 minutes on their clock. I never realized they were that short on time. But enough time to play 2 stones.
Man är nästan komma utsida i så fall och skjuta den dit.
Ja,
Ska han göra då?
det tror jag att han kommer kanske att säga. Hela dragningen.
Den här att han ger ju träff är väldigt svårt. Han ligger så långt bort.
Ja, det går inte.
Sweden trails it by 2.
Vi vill mest gärna ha tid.
They called a timeout as well.
En alternativ är att gå tryck. Det ena är ju att försöka skjuta den dit. En liten dörr. Det andra är att komma den vägen och trycka den dit.
Ja, vi var inne på en inhända och trycka. Gå ner mot den eller trycka gul.
Trycka den.
Ja, alternativet är ju att du drar ner dit.
Vill jag trycka den dit?
Ja. Alternativet är ju att du kan gå förbi också då. Om du är lite osäker på isen, jag vet inte.
Ja, det är det.
Ja.
Jag gör det.
Men prova att trycka fram den. Alltså. Om du känner det som en bra.
Ja. Det är ju liksom en dragning.
Ja, men kör på den. Jättebra.
Canada looks on. Priestman and Goody. Finally in turn. Skip from Sweden wanted to tap up his own stone on the right-hand side of the sheet, just outside the top of the forefoot. This stone he could lie 2, and he still has the advantage of last stone on this end. Running it by 2, the 3-ender isn't out of possibility yet. He could do that. Christina braces for a chair for him, and the stone is on its way. Certainly is slowing down in the center portion of the ice. Move his stone, no, dies quickly. Wow. He certainly is getting slow. Sweden still lying 1.
Except we got the same problem. If we have lots of time, how's our time?
7 minutes.
We have lots.
Yeah, we got 7.
The only thing we can't do is leave it here.
Yeah. We're for sure that they're our
So
shot.
we either chop that. We have to be here though, because he can go crazy over 3. Yeah. Where was I last time? I was about here, right?
Yep, that's where it was.
Yeah, there.
Up there, yeah.
Mind you, we also.
You still have to get by, right?
Yeah, well, if we don't, we got that too.
It's a tough one.
We were here last time, eh?
Well, Jim just widening out the broom a bit for himself on this last stone of his in this 8th end. He leads the game 6-4.
That's a lot of ice, isn't it?
You've been thinking like that, but
Is there any way he can get to that if we play this? See who's this here now?
Well, the front end pretty much leaving the decision up to Jim.
No, because if we, same thing. If we actually dead nutted it, we'd make it for him. So
Back over there.
Well, this is definitely the smart shot for Jim.
even if he just comes
Yep,
in
turn
the
draw.
center,
And the way this finishes,
me
wow, it could just bury in there big time. This ice is what we'd call going nuts from the hog line in.
can't be deep though.
There's a lot of curl. To make this, you almost have to be missing it a little bit heavy.
Back when we'd make it for him.
What are you doing?
Lobbing into the back one, into the other side.
No decision made. It'll be the
Wow.
out turn.
You want me to move the rock?
No, that's okay. I just did. So
Oh, okay.
didn't move very easily.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, all over it.
Jim Armstrong with his last stone of this eighth inning. His team leads it. Canada leads 6-4. Sweden is presently lying one. Jim trying to save this in. Keep Sweden from tying it up. A lot of weight. The chip and the roll. And Canada does roll for shot stone. That'll make it difficult for Sweden to get two. Canada has to
Unbelievable.
hope that Sweden can't roll.
Pretty good though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Nice for little Rob.
You were little
Little skinny.
skinny.
Det är inga andra alternativ.
Nej. Sätt upp isen så. Och kör den. Jag har den där.
Där. Ja, kolla.
Canada's definitely shot stone. Sweden has to make a play on it.
Den där. Där hade du den.
The big question here is if they hit that dead on the nose, will they be second shot stone? They would be first, but would they be second as well? They need two to tie.
Drar du utan mig eller är det bråttom?
Might have to hit and roll just a little bit. And wow, no time left to throw. Not even sure if that stone got off in time. It hit. The roll, but it jammed on that back stone. It'll be only one at most. Not sure who shot stone, whether it's Canada or Sweden. The game's definitely over. It just matters who counted the 1 point. And Sweden with no time left on that throw. It's 0 time left on the clock.
Kom här då.
Du vet,
Sa han att han tyckte att du spelade bra eller?
2 centimeter lättare tappa.
And had that shot been made for two, there definitely would have been a big question whether or not the stone got away in time. Was it delivered before the 0 point on the... It wouldn't have counted because the clock was up. Even if the shot had been made, Sweden was out of time and the match would be forfeited. Wow, what an end. Crazy finish to this game. Certainly the match of the Paralympic wheelchair curling so far. It's the two teams, the grudge match from the World Championship here last year. Saw Canada get the better of it once again with the 7-4 victory over Sweden. The two top-ranked countries in the world, Canada 1 and Sweden 2, battled it out on sheet A here on a little bit of soft ice conditions. Ice not quite flowing the way they wanted. Nonetheless, it was a well-curled match. right down to the exciting last second. Canada with the slightly better percentages, 52% to 48 in total. Winning it 7-4. And this is the first time in Paralympic curling where we've seen the clock go right to 0 for a team. And Sweden ran out of time on the last throw. Each team gets 68 minutes when they start the game to play their portion. Well, it was in the last end that Sweden really got tight on time. Sonia Goody, the Hall of Famer, wishing everyone well. It certainly was a great match to watch. Exciting all the way. Jim Armstrong really saved the game in the fourth end for his team with a great hit and roll to steal one. And Ina Forrest, 56% for the game, 70% on her takeouts, a big factor. Decent, strong game as well.
Coach said soccer is a game where 22 guys hit the ball for 90 minutes and then Germany win.
Sorry. Thank you.
Well, it was a great match here at the Paralympic curling, wheelchair curling in Sochi, Russia, as the two teams that played in the world final here last year in Sochi, Russia, battled it out here in the game so far of the Olympics. Canada with an early 5-2 lead. The Jim Armstrong team playing well. Sweden came back with 2 in the 6th end. Canada with 1 in the 7 and stealing 1 in the 8th to win it by a score of 7-4. So in round robin play, Canada stays undefeated, leading the way. Canada with a win here 7-4. Great match here. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.